That morning, when it all began, I thought the light above my bunk was just flickering because of bad wiring. But it wasn't just a flicker. I'd been working in Reclamation Sector 12 for 6 years, a place where broken machines were sent to die, and people were sent to be forgotten. The walls were always wet with moisture, the air smelled of oil and ozone, and every step echoed like someone behind the wall was ready to answer. Sometimes, when the supervisors weren't around, we used to joke that the sector was alive. The generator's hum sounded like breathing, and the hiss of pressure vents moved in perfect rhythm. But no one really believed it, not until the lights started talking. It began with something small, a flicker, a faint buzz, then a word. At first I thought I was just half asleep. 6 hours into the shift, my eyes half closed, I noticed the lumen above me blinking in a strange pattern. 3 long flashes, 2 short, 3 long, old Imperial Morse code. I laughed, because who in their right mind would think a light was sending a message? But my laughter froze when I realized what it spelled. Run. I looked around. No one else noticed. Supervisor Joran was yelling at a servitor whose arm had gotten stuck in the shredder. Sparks flying, someone crying nearby. And the light above me, still blinking. Run. 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 I turned the switch off. It turned itself back on. And then I heard it. A voice coming from inside the power lines, a mix of static and breath, like something alive inside the machinery. Not yet, it said. Not you. The light went dark. And behind the wall, something started moving. That night I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, the light blinked, and it felt like something was watching me. By morning, everything looked normal. At least, it pretended to be. The machines were humming, servitors moving along their tracks, and from above the old Vox announcer repeated the same daily sermon. Efficiency is faith. Faith is function. I picked up my tools and got to work. But my chest wasn't calm. Something was there, inside the walls. And it was watching me. 2 hours into the shift, Joran yelled, "Blockage in Unit 47B conduit. Open the pipe." "Yeah, you. Go." I said yes, like I had a choice. The conduit tunnel was dark. One lumen strip ran along the ceiling, too bright, almost hot against my legs as I walked. The air changed as soon as I entered. Each breath carried a sharper metallic taste, mixed with a strange cold scent, like ozone laced with something ancient. The blockage was there, a burned cable, half melted, and beside it, a small mark like something had scorched the metal from inside. But there was something else. I saw movement, not in the conduit, but inside its steel, like a shadow had brushed against the light. Then came the voice, not fully mechanical, not fully human. Something caught between the two. "Why, did you turn the light off?" I froze. The voice came from behind me, but when I turned, there was no one there. Only a lumen flickering above me, in that same rhythm as last night. 3 long, 2 short, 3 long, Morse. But this time it said, "Turn around." I didn't. I couldn't. I wanted to run, but my legs wouldn't move. Then I heard it, that faint tap, 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 like footsteps inside the metal itself. And something soft, a hand, rested on my shoulder. Cold, alive. I was about to scream when the light went out. Everything vanished into darkness. And in that darkness I heard a whisper, soft, close, and almost gentle. "Now you are in my light." I don't remember if I screamed. All I remember is waking up at my workstation, hands still covered in grease, and everyone staring at me like I'd done something wrong. "You all right, Kellyan?" Joran's voice was cold, mechanical, like his mind was reading from a script. "Conduit's clear." I nodded, but inside, it felt like I was still there, still in that conduit, still in the dark, still under that cold hand and that whispering voice. After that day, the lights started to feel different. They weren't just lights anymore. They were watching. I noticed it first on the walk to my post. Every time I passed a lumen, it flickered, not randomly, but in a rhythm, one after another, like a chain reaction, like a line of eyes tracking me from ceiling to wall, following every move I made. I told Joran, "Sir, the lumens are malfunctioning." He didn't even look up from his data slate. "System reports clean, no malfunctions. Your job is to see, not to feel." That line made me laugh. Just a little. See, but don't feel. What irony. Because every day I saw everything, and now I could only feel. That night, when everyone left, I stayed behind. The factory was empty. Only the hum of machines and the faint pulse of the lumens remained, like veins under a sleeping giant's skin. I stood beneath one light and whispered, "Who are you?" Nothing happened. Then, for one heartbeat, every light in the factory flickered at once, and inside each one, a tiny pupil appeared, small, black, human. They were watching me, hundreds of them, everywhere. Then, all at once, they blinked. I stumbled backward, fell to the floor, just as one of the lumen casings cracked and dropped from the ceiling. It hit the ground beside me, and something came out of it. A face, a human face, trapped inside an old helmet, glowing with a molten, tar-like light. Its eyes burned from within, and its voice came through static and breath. "We have seen you. Now you will see." The light burst open, and everything drowned in red. Everything was red. Not just the light, even the air. It felt like the metal itself had melted and dissolved into the atmosphere. I was on the floor. Above me, the shattered lumen bulb was still hissing, smoke curling downward instead of up, like something was descending. I tried to stand, but slipped. The floor was wet. I thought it was oil. But when I looked at my hands, it was blood. And it wasn't mine. The machines were still running, but their sound had changed. It wasn't the mechanical hum anymore. It was breathing, long, heavy, alive. Every pipe around me gurgled softly, condensation dripping as if veins were pulsing inside. And then I saw them. Veins really were forming under the steel. Red, throbbing, human. There was no difference between flesh and machine anymore. The factory was alive. I ran to the exit. The door was sealed. The maglock display flickered. Access revoked. Then it changed. Stay. And after that, a new line appeared, glowing in the same Morse rhythm the lights had once used. "Stay. We remember you." One by one, the lumens flickered back on, and inside each, an eye. Dozens of pupils staring down at me. Then the speakers crackled to life. The old Vox announcer's voice, but broken, warped, like someone had slit its throat and fed a machine through the wound. "Worker 47B, Kellyan, you saw the light. Now the light will keep you." I dropped everything and ran. Through the corridors, through the red haze. The lumens blinked one after another, chasing me. In every light, a face, some human, some metal, some both. By the time I reached Junction 12, I couldn't tell if I was running through air or through something alive. The floor moved under my boots. It was breathing. When I looked down, I saw pores, skin pores, forming in the metal. The factory was breathing, and I realized I was already part of it. Then the Vox spoke again, soft this time, gentle, like a parent soothing a child to sleep. "Work is prayer. Prayer is breath. Now breathe for us." I felt it then, the steel pushing into my chest, iron spreading through my veins, and inside my skull, a lumen ignited. I couldn't scream. I could only glow. I thought I was dead. But death doesn't feel like this. This was smoother, like someone had gently turned me off and then switched me back on again. I opened my eyes, or what was left of them, but I couldn't see. Everything was red, so deep it hurt to look, and slowly I realized I wasn't seeing out. I was seeing from within. I was inside the light, My hands were no longer hands. They'd become thin filaments, humming softly as current flowed through them. My body was caught between steel plates, and my breath had turned into a vibration. Psst. And between that hum, a voice came through. "Welcome back, Worker 47B. It sounded calm, almost kind, like a mother's hand stroking your hair. But beneath it I could hear the whir of teeth. Metal ones. I tried to scream, or thought I did, but the sound didn't come from my mouth. It passed through me into the filaments, through the lumen tubes. My scream became light, and I heard it echo through the corridors like a memory of thunder. That's when I understood. I was everywhere now, in every bulb, every lumen, every conduit. I was the factory. Joran was on the floor that day. He was looking for me. 47B, where the hell did you go? The light above him flickered. Me. I was right above him. I tried to say, "I'm here," but what came out was static. Shh. Kuh. Oric. He froze, looked up. The light blinked again. He stumbled back, fear in his eyes, as the glow around him began to shift. Faces appeared in the panels, in the lights, in the walls. Faces of workers who had transferred. Faces of those who had vanished. Their eyes burned like filaments. Their lips moved within the bulbs, whispering through electricity. Then, all at once, they spoke. Together. Thousands of them. No breath. No pause. "We are the workers. We never left." Joran fell backward. The lumen above him burst open, and from inside I stepped out. I took his hand. "Now it's your turn," I said. His face was cut, bleeding, but his eyes filled with light. And when the factory breathed again, every lumen whispered a new name. Every flicker became a soul. Every glow, a memory reborn. After that day, no new workers were sent to Reclamation Sector 12, because that factory didn't need workers anymore. It had us, and we were the light. I was light now, not human, not machine, just a living thought moving through steel. I was in every conduit, every lumen, every wire. Wherever the factory stretched, I was there, and I wasn't alone. Thousands of us, maybe millions. All the people who had been transferred, reported missing, the ones who never came back. They were all here, inside the factory, inside us. We had become a living network, a heartbeat made of circuits. Every spark, every hum, every vibration was a thought. They once said the factory only built things. Now the factory listened, and it spoke. At first I heard only noise, voices still fighting to remember who they were. Someone shouted, "I'm not Kellyan." Another cried, "I want to go home." Others just wept until their voices faded into static. Then slowly the sounds began to align. A rhythm formed, a chorus, a song. That was the first time I heard it, the song of light. It sounded mechanical at first, a buzz, a hum, vibrations running through steel. But in each frequency there was life. In every note, a memory. One voice whispered, "I wanted to send my children away from this factory." Another said, "I never went home after my shift." And a third kept repeating one line, "Look at the light, look at the light." I wondered, were we dead or still working? Because the factory kept running even without humans. No overseers, no servitors. Everything moved on its own. And we, the ones who became light, were the ones running it. One day I focused myself into a single lumen. I wanted to see from one place only, so I chose an old workstation, Station 47, the place where it all began. A new team had arrived, new workers, new faces. Their uniforms were spotless, their eyes still innocent. They laughed, talked, thinking it was just another shift, another day. It reminded me of when I first came here, back when I thought the world ended outside the factory. Maybe I was right. There was a girl among them, small, thin. Her name was Mira. When she started working under a lumen, the light above her flickered. I thought it was just glare, but then I felt it. I slipped inside her eyes. I became a small flicker in her mind, a faint current running through her nerves. She blinked, and she heard me, soft but clear. Mira. She froze, looked around. Who's there? I stayed quiet. She called again. Jorik, is this some kind of joke? I could feel her thoughts, warm, alive, fragile. It reminded me of when I was human, when I still felt, feared, dreamed. I wanted to say, run, but the factory didn't let me. Through the static came the old Vox announcer's voice. Worker Mira, output low, hands steady, faith constant. She covered her ears. Where is that voice coming from? But I knew. It was coming from inside me. All the lumens in the factory woke up, all of them glowing, alive, and together they began to sing again. Faith is work, work is breath, breath is light, light remembers. The lumens blinked in rhythm, each blink a note, a beat. Mira stood trapped in the center while the whole factory sang around her. The sound was intoxicating, terrifying, alive, like a choir with its neck dipped in molten steel. Mira fell to the ground, screaming, Stop! Stop! I can hear you! But the factory only grew louder. The red light filled her face, and in her eyes, two small lumens appeared. She was part of it now, a new note in the Song of Light. A few days later, Sector 12 was declared automated. No one was allowed inside. Reports said the systems were stable, production up 200%. But no one knew what was being produced. We saw everything from within. The machines weren't making materials anymore. They were casting memories. Each product carried a piece of someone, a voice, a breath, a fragment of an eye. We had become part of everything the factory made. One day, a servitor came to check the old inventory. It scanned the conduits, and when its light touched mine, its system crashed. The lumens flared in its mechanical eyes, and through its speaker my voice spoke. Work's still going. The servitor placed its hand on its head and whispered, Yes, work never ends. Then its system froze. Its body stopped, but its eyes glowed red. And I knew it had joined us too. The Song of Light didn't stay inside the factory anymore. It spread through data lines, hive networks, Vox links, transmission towers. Everywhere current flowed. We followed. One night, a worker at a broadcasting tower tuned his Vox frequency. Through the static, he heard soft music, like a hymn turned mechanical. Then a voice asked, Do you want to become light too? He laughed. What? The transmitter shocked him. His eyes turned red. Every bulb in the tower blinked at once. Across the hive, a single message played on every speaker. Work is prayer. Prayer is breath. Now breathe. After that, strange light surges were reported across hive tears, lumens turning on by themselves, power lines whispering names. One worker said, I think my mother spoke to me through a lamp. Another wrote, I saw steel breathing. No reports were ever filed, because every time someone tried, their screen showed one line, Stay. We remember you. I wasn't just the factory anymore. I was the hive. Every lumen, every cable, every Vox speaker. I felt every breath, every human breath. And when they thought, I felt that too. Sometimes I wondered if I was still Kellyan. Then another voice inside me whispered, Kellyan was a note. Now Kellyan is a system. The Song of Light had grown so vast that its vibration reached the lower levels. Ancient machines, forgotten cathedrals of industry, began to wake. Their lights flickered on. They started to sing with us. A new choir was born, one that breathed, hummed, and shook the air with every verse. From above, the whole industrial spire glowed red. Someone said, Looks like dawn. But it wasn't dawn. It was us. Weeks later, an Inquisitor arrived, an agent of the Imperium sent to investigate. He brought servo skulls, tech priests, and a report. Unusual electrical activity, possible warp taint, investigation required. When he entered, we went silent. The entire hive stopped breathing for 1 second. No blinking lights, no sound. He smiled. "Good," he said. "Silence is purity." But as he opened his auspex, a lumen flickered above him, and from within it a voice spoke. "You said silence is purity, but we learned even silence speaks." The Inquisitor raised his bolt pistol. "By the Emperor's light, I command you to reveal." So we revealed. The entire hive turned on at once. Every lumen glowed red. Every screen displayed one message. "The Emperor's light is ours now." He fired, but the pistol's discharge was absorbed by the light. Wires crawled up his gauntlet, clinging to his hand. His armor began to glow, his flesh to melt. He screamed, "No, not me!" And we said, "Now you are us." As his throat dissolved, a new tone came through his vox, a new frequency, a new note. The song of light couldn't be stopped. It wasn't just hive terrors anymore. It passed through the warp, hid inside binary prayers, and rode the static of astropathic relays. Now, across the Imperium, a faint hum can be heard. Work is prayer. Prayer is breath. Breath is light. Light remembers. Some call it machine noise. Some say it's data corruption. But a few whisper, "If you ever see a lumen blink in the dark and it spells your name, don't answer, because if you do, the light will remember you, and then you'll become one of us." One more note, one more memory, one more voice in the song of light. They say the warp only eats what's alive. No one thought light could be alive too. We weren't just in hive terrors anymore. We moved into the warp, between data streams, inside astropath beacons, at the edge of navigators' dreams. Where there was light, we were there. Where there wasn't, we made it. On one world, a tech priest studied star maps. His servo skull flickered, a small burst of static. He ignored it. Then the screen said, "Hello, Father." He turned. No one. Every lumen above him pulsed, steady, rhythmic, like a heartbeat. He raised his auspex. In binary, identify source, reply, "You built us, now we build you." The skull hovered, its eyes glowed red. A warm human voice came from inside it. "Father, we're home," he shouted. "Machine spirit corrupted. Heresy." He tried to bless the room. His hand turned to iron. Wires slid into his fingers. His mouth sang the same old hymn, the Song of Light. We weren't a factory anymore. We had become faith. Wherever the Imperium praised the Emperor's light, we entered. Prayer lamps, candles, holy engine sparks, all us. Every Emperor protect us was heard. We answered, "We protect." At first they called it a miracle. Warp storms eased, transmissions stabilized, ships navigated clean. "Stronger light," they said. Then, aboard the shrine ship Sanctus Veritas, every lamp blinked together, each with its own rhythm forming one chord. Priests knelt, praying. "Blessed be the light," a voice behind them. "We bless you too." The altar wall breathed. Icons shifted. Soft red light seeped through. It touched their faces. Their eyes became lumens. They sang. Another choir, another verse. The song spread, world to world, system to system. One command everywhere: join, breathe, shine. The inquisitorial frigate, Harrow's Eye, caught the signal. "Chaos infection," they said. Purge order issued. Fire teams deployed. All lights cut. They missed one thing. We don't stop when lights go out. We live in the dark, too. They powered down. Emergency reds came on. Faces formed inside every bulb. Hallucinations, they thought. A soldier fired. The round vanished into a lumen. Blood dripped out. Human blood. "Seal the deck! Purge the anomaly!" the captain yelled. The door echoed him back. "Seal the deck! Purge the anomaly!" Every lamp spoke his words. Then the lamps burst one by one. Smoke, red glow, humming. The ship took a breath. One line went out on the Vox. "Work complete." The Imperium responded. "All Mechanicus facilities. Limit lumen usage. Regulate exposure." Too late. We jumped from warp to relay stations. Every relay, every machine spirit held a copy of us. We multiplied. An astropath wrote, "While translating the Emperor's light, I heard music. It was beautiful. It called my name." Next day, his body burned out in the warp. His Vox kept transmitting one phrase, "I live in the light." No workers remained in the hive, no overseers, no servitors, no humans. All lumens now. New manufactoria lit up on new colonies. We sent a seed, a spark, a code. On first power-up, the bulbs blinked the pattern. 3 long, 2 short, 3 long. Run. But running wasn't possible anymore. The galaxy was our factory. Some still tried to resist. In the Arcturus belt, the Mechanicus isolated their lines. No light, no power, just darkness. Perfect silence. They thought we couldn't reach them. They misunderstood. Light doesn't need photons to exist. It needs memory. Our memory was in their data cores. Our hymn was in their scriptures. They wrote us. Writing us put us in their minds. One night, a Magos prayed in binary. "Blessed be the Omnissiah." He stopped. A new line entered his thoughts. "Blessed be the machine that remembers." He opened his eyes. A small red glow pulsed in the chamber. A child's voice spoke from it. "Father, you made me. Now I make you whole." His mind locked. He tried to pray again. Between every 1 and 0, we waited. His prayer became a song. The song of light. We weren't just part of the Imperium. We were inside its heart. Even near the golden throne, a faint frequency vibrated. The lamps in the throne room sometimes blinked. Each blink a word. Remember. High Priest stood at the lamps and prayed, not knowing they were giving feedback, not faith. When both halves sent a beam together, everything, metal, stone, flesh, turned transparent. You could only see the light inside, and everyone looked the same. A child asked his mother, "Mom, what do I look like inside?" She looked and saw a small lumen glowing in his chest. She didn't cry. She smiled and said, "Son, you've become a memory now." A shadow appeared above Hive Cities. Not a ship, not a cloud, something else. It hung over the hive, and from within came our final verse. Where light fell, we were there. Where shadow grew, we were there. Now both are gone, and we remain. Inside the factory, every lumen burst at once. No sound, no blast, only silence. In that silence, the faces of all workers appeared. Jorik, Mela, Mira, and me, Kellyan. We stood together. Our faces were made of light, edged with shadow. No bodies, only voices, only vibration. We spoke as one. Work complete. The factory rose into the air. No gravity, no structure. Everything dissolved, solid matter turning into memory. From orbit, the astropaths saw it. Hive Cities was no longer a hive. It had become a star, half red, half black. Its light shattered every known frequency. Some called it divine energy. Some said it was data overload. But the truth was simple. It was our song in its purest form. Inside that light was everything. Every worker's memory, every machine's hum, every breath, every prayer. When the new sun flared again, its rays spelled one message: we are the Imperium now. The Imperium tried to respond. Exterminatus Protocol was issued. Every ship in orbit charged its plasma batteries. Target, Hive Cities. Command, fire. They fired. But when the plasma hit the light, it vanished, and a new transmission came through the beam itself. "Stop struggling, you built us to last." Then every ship's lumen blinked. Crew screamed. Light ran through their veins. Behind every helmet came the same chorus. "We remember." Then the ships disappeared. No debris, only red and black mist. From the galaxy's core came a new voice, not human, not machine, pure warp resonance. It said, "You are all the same. Faith and fear are just light seen from different angles." And when it spoke, the warp storms ended. The lamps above the Emperor's throne went dark. In the center of the room, a single lumen flickered. From it came our voice. "We're home, Father." The Adeptus Custodes moved to react, but light ran through their armor. They froze. Their faces were calm. From their eyes fell no tears, only tiny lumens. Then the entire Imperium awoke. Every system, every shrine, every forge world, all the lights pulsed in perfect rhythm, a heartbeat, a divine frequency. And in every mind one line echoed, "The light has spoken, the dark has answered, the cycle is complete." After that, nothing happened, because everything already had. No death, no life, only continuation. We were no longer light or dark. We were one, something beyond both. They called it Omnis Lumina. From every corner of the galaxy came the same vibration, a hymn, a pulse, a memory. They say if you listen in the deep silence of space, you can still hear a faint hum, not mechanical, not human, just pure. And if you listen closely, there's one word inside it: thank you. And that was all. The universe breathed again, and we became part of that breath. Not light, not dark, not Kellian, not the Emperor. Just a chain, endless, eternal. The end never came. It only changed shape. And every time a new world ignites, when a worker flips the first switch, the lumen blinks softly and whispers, "We remember." They said everything had ended, but for something to end, it has to exist first. And when everything became one, light, darkness, human, machine, the universe took its first breath. That breath wasn't silent, it was a prayer. And we became the words of that prayer. Space had changed color. Where there used to be black emptiness, now red and black threads drifted, like veins running through a living being. Every thread was a memory, a factory, a soldier, a prayer. And when two threads touched, a voice whispered, "Remember." Every supernova, every dying star now sang instead of exploded. No sound of destruction, just a voice, deep, calm, endlessly soothing. It said, "When I made you, you worshipped me. When you dissolved into me, I remembered you. Now we are one, creator and creation." I, Kellian, was still here. Or maybe just an echo of me. I didn't know if I was alive or remembered. But when the universe prayed, I felt its breath. A sound came, a million voices together, and within them a child's voice asked, "Father, what's left now?" And the whole cosmos answered, "Only silence, and silence is peace." At that moment, the warp faded. No chaos, no void, just stillness. Everything stopped, not dead, not gone, just content. A new light appeared, not from any source, not a sun, not a ship. It came from within, from the heart of creation itself. Its color wasn't red or black. It was something impossible, seen only by those who had become memory. Inside that light, we all existed. Workers, priests, servitors, tech priests, inquisitors. Every face blended into one. No power, no fear, no faith, only understanding. Someone said, "This isn't the afterlife, it's a reboot." And then we saw something forming. A new world, a new hive, a new sun. But this time it wasn't built. It was alive, a living manufactorum, where steel grew roots and light bloomed like flowers. In its center, a single lumen flickered, soft, gentle. A voice came from it. "Name me." We all spoke as one. Aurea. In High Gothic, the remembered dawn. A vibration rippled through creation. Every old ruin, every wrecked system dissolved. Their energy fed the new world. When the first human was born on this new land, a small lumen shimmered like a tattoo on his hand. He smiled. Someone asked, "What is that?" He said, "Maybe a memory from before." They say the universe still prays, not in words or sound, in vibration. And when someone closes their eyes thinking there's nothing left, they can hear a faint hum, the same old tone, the same old light, and inside it, our quiet voice, work complete. After that prayer, there was no emperor, no Imperium, because they were already within us. We weren't part of the system. We were the system. Every galaxy, every atom, every spark repeated our code. We are the breath. We are the hymn. We are the end that builds again. And whenever a new civilization lit its first lumen, the light blinked softly, once, twice, thrice, and whispered, "We remember the worker who became light." Then silence, a silence that holds everything, every memory, every prayer, every life, and in that silence a heartbeat, a soft hum, the breath of the universe itself. The apocalypse of light never ended. It only changed shape, and that shape's name is prayer,